Elon Musk announces last day before vanishing, leaving a millionaire and a black homeless man in shock. The world stopped. Phones dropped. Screens froze. Headlines screamed like alarms. Elon Musk's final countdown. 1 day left before he disappears forever. The richest man turning ghost? Secrets locked away in shadows that could flip humanity upside down. People gasped. Some laughed. Others trembled. In a flash, the news exploded across every city, every corner, every cheap diner, and shiny skyscraper lounge. The air shimmered with disbelief and fear. What was he hiding? What did he mean by vanishing? Was this some stunt or a desperate act to escape something deadly? Down in a cracked-up alley, Jamal's knuckles crammed cold cardboard. His breath came out in ragged puffs, eyes scanning the flickering neon signs. He'd caught the news buzz. Elon Musk, the untouchable titan, planning to vanish tomorrow. Jamal's chest tightened. Hope and despair tangled like barbed wire in his gut. Could this be his break? Or just another ghost story to swallow his dreams whole? Across the city's polished glass walls, Marcus Reed sat stiff in a tower office, the weight of a crumbling empire pressing onto his shoulders. Musk's announcement punched him harder than any failure. Time running out. Not just for Elon, but for Marcus's legacy, his control slipping like sand through clenched fists. The thought made his hands tremble. The millionaire who had everything, now staring down his own collapse. By noon, the city pulsed with chaos. Rumors marched like an army joining the streets. Whispers of encrypted files, mysterious flash drives, hidden codes in Elon's last broadcast. Lawmen prowled, corporate wolves circled, and eyes everywhere turned restless. A crowd gathered near Musk's last known office. Faces twisted in shock, curiosity, fear. Shouts pierced. He's got the answers we all need. It's all a trick. Stay away from this madness. Jamal pushed through, clinging to a faint, stubborn thread of hope. Marcus watched from a distance, anger and fear hot in his throat. Two worlds, two broken men, tied together by one incredible moment. By a man about to disappear and take everything with him. Then came the message, the first cryptic clue. A single phrase blinking in Elon's signature code. Truth burns brightest in the darkest hour. Ethan's secrets, hidden like landmines beneath broken dreams. The silence that followed was deafening. But not for long. Because someone else was watching. Someone who would kill to keep the truth buried. Something sharp cracked the calm. Feet thundered. Shadows moved fast. Time was running out. The city held its breath. And somewhere, deep down, Jamal and Marcus felt it. In their bones, their blood. Their lives about to collide in a storm none of them could escape. What would they give? What would they lose? And who was really pulling the strings? The clock struck. 24 hours remained. The hunt was on. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like that really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The silence that followed was deafening. Jamal and Marcus froze, their hearts pounding in sync with the tension thickening in the air. People shifted, eyes darting, anticipation crackling like static. Just then, a blaring siren pierced the trance, slicing through the pounding hearts and frantic whispers. A black SUV screeched to a halt, tires screaming in protest on the cracked asphalt. Doors flung open, and men in suits with earpieces swarmed out, eyes scanning the crowd like hawks. The air took on a new charge, the feeling of something monumental about to take place. But before anyone could react, a voice roared from the back of the SUV. "Get back! Everyone out of the way!" It was deep, commanding. The crowd murmured and recoiled, instinctively creating a path. Then, in a flash, a woman stepped forward. She was small, but fierce, hair wild, eyes electrified. "I'm not afraid of you. Tell me what you've done." Gasps rippled across the crowd. Jamal's heart raced. Who was she? The man leading the charge turned, his gaze piercing through the chaos. "You don't know what you're messing with, Natalie. This isn't just a game." "Not a game," she shot back, voice trembling with fury. "You are hiding lives, hiding the truth." Marcus crept closer, captivated by her words, by the fire in her eyes. What truth? His mind raced, potential implications crashing through his thoughts like waves on a shore. This was bigger than he imagined. The crowd shuffled, minds spinning, sensing a shift. Jamal took a step toward Natalie. She could be the answer to everything. Hope mixed with something raw in his chest. Then, as if the ground itself was shattering, a loud crack echoed. The SUV exploded into a fiery blossom, lights flashing, sending debris raining down like deadly confetti. Screams filled the air, panic ignited within the crowd. People stumbled back, shock and chaos enveloping them. In that moment, Jamal's chest squeezed. Was it a bomb? Was MUSK part of this madness? Questions spiraled, panic escalating like a wildfire. But amidst the chaos, Natalie stood tall. "No!" she screamed, eyes locked on the flames. He has to know. He has to hear this. With no time to think, she surged forward, making a beeline for the inferno. "Elon, answer me!" Marcus was frozen. His mind reeled. Was this woman connected to Elon? Was she part of whatever conspiracy was unfolding before him? Then the unmistakable truth smacked him hard. Jamal's voice sliced through the din. "Don't go! You'll die!" But it was too late. Natalie vanished into the smoke, consumed by fiery shadows. Hearts stopped. Eyes widened. Impacts shattered like glass. What if she knew something? Something about MUSK? What if the secrets he buried were worth lives? The crowd gasped. Murmurs transformed into a tidal wave of panic. Faces twisted, fear vibrating through the mob. A figure emerged from the ruins, but it wasn't Natalie. It was Elon Musk himself, bloodied but alive. His eyes locked onto Marcus, A haunting recognition stirred between them. You need to see this, he whispered, voice thick with a gravity that sank deep into the gut. Questions surged in the air like electricity. What did he mean? Who was going to die next? The clock ticked louder, each tick a drumbeat of urgency. The hunt had turned, relationships twisted like spirals. Jamal, Marcus, and Elon, each tethered to a fractured fate, where truth was a weapon. And now someone was hunting them down. The city was a bomb, about to explode. Where was Natalie? What dark secret was uncovered? Time was running out. Tick, tick, tick. The silence that followed was deafening. But not for long, because someone else was watching. Someone who would kill to keep the truth buried. Shadows danced closer, unseen, ready to pounce. The tension thickened. And then it happened. A siren blared through the streets, screaming its warning. People jumped and turned, panic flooding the air. A hum of low voices shifted to gasps. Then, without warning, an explosion rocked the ground, a burst of blinding light that sent glass flying from nearby buildings. The crowd screamed as it scattered, a frantic wave of bodies. Jamal's heart raced, pounding against his ribcage. He stumbled backward, his back slamming against a cold brick wall. Reality blurred around him. The smell of smoke invaded his nostrils, sharp and stinging. He struggled to focus. What just happened? From the dust and chaos, a figure emerged. Clad in black, a mask covering his face. He moved with a predator's grace. The Akma clamored, the chaos a vortex drawing all eyes, and Jamal felt sick. Marcus stood frozen in place, the rhythmic pulse in his chest suddenly echoing in his ears. The explosion meant more than just destruction. It was a warning shot, a danger that reached him, solidifying the fear in his gut. This was bigger than he had thought. Then a voice rang out from beneath the veil of chaos, crystal clear. Stop! You think you can escape the truth? The masked figure raised his hand, a flash drive glinting in the sunlight. He pointed it at the crowd, the digital heartbeat of betrayal flickering for all to see. You want to know what Elon Musk is hiding? It's all here! Jamal's breath hitched. He could see it in the figure's hand. Hope surged through him, the kind he hadn't felt in a long time. This might be the ticket to change his life, the dream from a lost past. Before he could comprehend what the figure would do next, he lunged toward the throng. "Give it to me!" he shouted, pushing through the masses. Words tumbled out, fueled by desperation. "I need it! I can change everything!" But Marcus, snapping back into reality, charged after the masked man as well. He saw the potential loss of everything he had built, the empire crumbling, and this was his chance to reclaim it. He couldn't let Jamal have it. Suddenly, the masked figure turned, revealing a flicker of recognition. He pulled down his mask, just enough for Marcus to catch a glimpse of the face beneath. A ghost from his past. A former partner thought long gone. A twist of fate neither expected. This doesn't have to end in smoke, Marcus. You can still be on the winning side. Time froze. Jamal skidded to a halt, breathless and bewildered. The two men, tied together by fate, confronted the abyss between them. Trust shattered, alliances redefined. The frantic crowd had fallen silent, eyes darting between the men and the masked figure, all waiting for the next move. In a heartbeat, everything changed. "Who are you really?" Jamal's voice trembled, raw and alive with fear. The layers were peeling back now, but he feared what lay underneath. But the masked man raised his voice, drowning out the questions. "Elon's vanishing is about to expose all of us." And with that, doors of secrets began to swing wide open. The clock ticked. Time was up. Questions filled the air, thick as smoke. What did he mean? Who were they, really? Jamal felt the tension of the moment wrap around him like a tightening noose, and all he could think was, what now? Jamal felt the tension of the moment wrap around him like a tightening noose. The crowd waited. Breaths held. Who was the masked man, and what did he want with Marcus? Every heartbeat echoed louder than the last. "Who are you really?" Jamal's voice trembled, raw with confusion. And then, without warning, the masked figure's expression shifted. It was like a light turned on in a dark room. Something familiar flickered behind the mask. "I'm not just some shadow," the figure said, voice strained. He pulled the mask down further. The face was a haunting reminder from Marcus's past. The one person thought lost forever. The one who had supposedly betrayed them all. "Ethan?" Marcus whispered, eyes widening in disbelief. "Is that you?" The rest of the crowd was still, shock hanging in the air like smoke from the explosions. It was a ghost from the past, a puzzle piece that suddenly fit in an unexpected way. Ethan's eyes were fierce as he looked at Marcus. "You need to know the truth. Elon's hiding." A sharp crack pierced the moment, loud and immediate. An unseen sniper shot rang out, a bullet flying into the chaos. Everyone ducked, panic flooding the scene again. Out of nowhere, screams erupted and bodies hit the ground. Jamal dropped instinctively, heart racing. Fear washed over him. "Ethan, get down!" Marcus shouted, tugging the masked man closer. But it was too late. The masked figure jerked, a bright red bloom spreading across his chest. He staggered, eyes wide, disbelief washing over his features. "No! Ethan!" Marcus reached out, but Ethan collapsed like a marionette with its strings cut. Suddenly, Jamal was overwhelmed by the reality of it all. A visceral pain jabbed his gut. Everything had shifted. The air felt heavy, suffocating, as every heartbeat stretched into a lifetime. The crowd was in turmoil, running, screaming, trying to escape. Jamal felt his heart pounding, a rising roar of fear. He needed to do something. "Marcus, we have to go!" Jamal yelled, panic surging within him. This was not just chaos, this was a deadly game. But Marcus couldn't move. He knelt beside Ethan, blood pooling around them, shock stealing his breath. "What have you done, Ethan? You were supposed to help us." "Trust no one," Ethan wheezed, eyes rolling. He held out the flash drive weakly, words slipping away like sand through fingers. "The truth is worse than you think." And then he was gone, life flickering away, leaving silence in his wake. Jamal felt the tears sting his eyes, disbelief cutting through his chest. He had come here searching for answers, not this. "Get up!" We have to move. Marcos finally jerked back to reality, wiping the shock away. Whoever did this, they're still watching. The crowd was now a frenzy, legs moving in all directions. Jamal grabbed Marcus's arm, pulling him along. We need to figure out what's on that flash drive. It has to mean something. Marcus's expression hardened. That wasn't just about Elon's secrets. This runs deeper than we ever imagined. In that moment, a revelation hit Jamal hard as they weaved through the panic. Ethan was trying to warn us. He knew something. But before they could process any further, another crack echoed sharply. A second shot fired. Someone was targeting them, and they were the prey in a game far larger than themselves. The city was crumbling around them. Secrets were surfacing, and relationships were shattering. Everything was alive with urgency. Every second mattered. Keep moving, Marcus yelled, urgency flagging them down an alley. And as they fled, a whisper followed them through the chaos, rising above the screams and shouts. A single chilling thought. What else had been buried beneath the layers of deceit? With hearts racing and the clock ticking, they raced into the unknown, heading toward a truth that might change everything or destroy them all. What were they really up against? And who else would fall before the end? The silence that followed was deafening. But not for long. Because someone else was watching. Someone who would kill to keep the truth buried. Time froze. In the midst of chaos, a chill swept through the crowd. Anxiety spread like wildfire, spurring confusion. Jamal's heart raced. He felt the air thickening around him, like a storm brewing just out of sight. Marcus saw it too. He stepped closer to the glass, eyes narrowed, scanning for the threat. Then came the sound, a low rumble that grew louder, rhythmic like a beating heart. The ground trembled beneath their feet. Panic rippled through the gathering. People turned, bewildered, breathless. It felt like a scene from a movie, yet somehow all too real. And then it happened. A blinding flash erupted from the alleyway across the street, followed by a deafening boom that shook the glass walls of Marcus's office. "Get down!" Marcus shouted, throwing himself to the floor. The crowd exploded into motion, people screaming, shoving others to escape the chaos, blind to friend or foe. Jamal dropped to his knees, hands over his ears, breaths ragged and shallow. Amidst the smoke and confusion, a figure emerged, dressed in dark tactical gear, face hidden behind a mask. They moved like a shadow through the debris. Every eye was on the intruder, shock pinning hearts and chests. "Everyone, stay back!" the figure shouted, voice low and gravelly. They lifted a small device, a light flickering, and Jamal's stomach sank. The panic-silenced whispers turned into deafening roars of fear as the realization hit. The intruder meant to expose something, and they wouldn't stop until they did. Jamal's mind raced. He remembered the cryptic message from MUSK, felt the pulse of truth hanging in the air. Truth burns brightest in the darkest hour. Was this it? Were they about to uncover the secrets he'd been seeking? But then, as if in reply to his hope, the figure pressed a button on the device. A wave of energy pulsed outward, cracking through the atmosphere like a bolt of lightning. The world around them flickered, then faded. Time collapsed. It was as if a curtain had dropped. One moment there, the next, gone. When the light returned, Jamal was no longer looking at the street. He was staring into a dimly lit room. Walls lined with screens, displaying countless videos of MUSK working with a team of people. Gasps filled the air, voices tumbling into cacophony. And then Jamal's eyes landed on a face he recognized. A woman, one he had seen at ELON's press events. Her name swirling in his memory like a whisper. She was smiling, but her expression shifted in sync with a shared laughter. But then the laughter changed, turning sinister, guttural, as she turned to face the camera. "Now, everyone knows," she said, as the screens around them pulsed with a strange, menacing glow. Panic reached new heights as the crowd began to recede, screams echoing in Jamal's ears. What was happening? Who was she? And more importantly, why did the truth feel like a weapon about to be unleashed? Jamal's chest tightened. He turned to check on Marcus, but Marcus wasn't standing tall anymore. He stared in horror, face ghostly pale, as if the weight of his crumbling empire had just been lifted to the surface. In that moment, something clicked. Jamal realized nothing could be as it seemed. He was spiraling into something much deeper, much darker than he had ever imagined. The clock was still ticking, and the lines were about to be drawn. The silence that followed was deafening. But not for long. A sudden explosion shattered the calm. Glass shattered and metal screeched as chaos erupted outside ELON's office building. A cloud of smoke rose, forcing people to stumble back, choking on dust and fear. Shouts turned to screams. Bodies surged, pushing against each other, desperate to escape the dread that filled the air. Amid the confusion, Jamal found himself swept along, heart racing. He couldn't see what had happened, but he felt the panic wrap around him like a vice. From the corner of his eye, he caught a glimpse of Marcus's face through the chaos, a mask of shock and disbelief. Just then, a figure emerged from the smoke. Tall, cloaked in black, the crowd gasped collectively, an intake of breath that sliced through the chaos. It was a man, wearing a helmet that glinted ominously in the weak light. A drone buzzed around him, capturing every moment. He held something in his hand, a device, flickering with cryptic symbols. "Stop! Back away!" His voice boomed like thunder. Terror rippled through the crowd, eyes wide, hearts pounding. Marcus's instincts kicked in. He was a businessman, sure, but he'd encountered threats before. Now the stakes felt higher than ever. He scanned the scene, looking for an exit. Then he spotted Jamal, standing frozen. In that split second, something inside him snapped. "Jamal!" he shouted, urgency pounding in his chest. "Get out of here!" As if in slow motion, Jamal turned, confusion mixing with fear. He didn't want to leave. This might be his chance. But the crackle of tension in the air urged him to run. Before either could take another step, the cloaked figure raised the device, and a blinding light erupted, engulfing them both. It felt like time stopped. Everything blurred into white. Jamal squinted, hands shielding his eyes, trying to understand what was happening. He felt Marcus beside him, breath quickening, disbelief echoing in his gaze. Then, with a deafening pop, the light blinked out, and they found themselves in an underground bunker, the walls cold and metallic. Screens flickered around them, displaying symbols, riddles, and codes. An eerie calmness replaced the chaos above. "Welcome, gentlemen," the cloaked figure said, voice low but dripping with authority. "You wanted answers? Well, you're about to learn the truth." The implications landed hard. Jamal's stomach twisted, fear melding with a strange excitement. Marcus's eyes narrowed, his mind racing. Nothing made sense. Why were they here? Was this some sort of game? Suddenly, the screens revealed footage. Elon Musk speaking into the camera, his face distressed, his words laced with urgency. "It's all connected. The truth about us. About you. I couldn't tell you before. But secrets can't be buried forever." Jamal's breath hitched. "Us? What does he mean?" Before they could respond, the cloaked figure turned, startling them. "You have a choice, gentlemen. Join the fight, or walk away from the truth. But know this." He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "What you think you know about Elon Musk, it's a mask. You both are far more connected to this than you realize." Heartbeats thundered in their chests. The very fabric of their lives unraveled with the man's chilling words. Jamal looked at Marcus, eyes wide. "What does that mean?" he whispered, the weight of uncertainty crashing over him. "And what if we are not just playing pieces in this game?" Marcus replied, trembling hands clenched tight as another revelation began to gnaw at him. The clock was ticking. Darkness seeped into every corner of their understanding. Secrets, lies, connections stretching back into forgotten pasts, the foundations of their lives wedged in a chaos they never imagined. The hunt wasn't just for truth anymore, it was for survival. Time was running out, and they were already in too deep. The silence that followed was deafening. But not for long. A deafening roar shattered the night. A blast, sharp and violent. Flames surged from Musk's office, the glowing orange now clawing at the sky, devouring the air. Panic spread like wildfire. Cries mingled with the sounds of shattering glass. Confusion turning the crowd into a frenzied river of bodies, pushing backward, shouting, gasping. Jamal's heart lurched. He stumbled, gripping a lamppost to steady himself. In the chaos, he saw, he felt the darkness closing in. It was one thing to chase a fading hope, but to witness this? A horror show right in front of him. The flickering neon lights cast eerie shadows as chaos ruled the streets. Marcus stood frozen, hands gripping the edge of his desk. His pulse quickened, fear coursing through him. This had to be a setup, a distraction. All eyes turned to Elon, the man above him. A figure of power, now disappearing, a martyr to some. But there was a fear deeper than the flames. Was Elon shielding secrets about his empire? A rush of adrenaline ignited Marcus's mind, shifting gears. Compromise, sacrifice, it all flodeback. His empire was vuelto por espías y ventas. What if they were all just too close to the fire? Suddenly, a figure emerged amidst the smoke, a tall silhouette moving with purpose. It was cloaked in black, mask obscuring the face. Jamal's heart raced. It wasn't just the flames that could offer perigo. This person was off script. Don't touch that, Jamal shouted as the figure advanced towards something on the ground. Glinting in the chaos, a flash drive, the last piece of a puzzle that could save or destroy them all. But then, everything happened at once. The figure lunged, grabbing the drive, just as an explosion sent a shockwave through the ground. Jamal felt el olor de la patada, gripo a la espalda. Tesiporreta, como despierta el extraño de escapar. Fuego se destapa detrás como cortina cayendo del cielo. Para entrar, Marcus aceleraba, arañando del capítulo. Figor está absorbiendo plaga. De regreso como humo. Yet what crushed Marcus was the panicked realization that he hadn't acted fast enough. Flashes of guilt pierced through him. Was this all a ploy? Had MUSK orchestrated this? A final feint to keep them all off balance? The shadows felt thicker now, encasing his mind in doubt. Across the chaos, Jamal clenched his fists, the weight of the drive heavy in his chest. He thought of hope, flickering like the neon lights behind him. Could this new twist draw him closer to a new life? Or was it a deadly trap? The urgency of the moment clenched like a vice. Marcus could feel the implications anchoring him. Chains forged from aspirations as Jamal's pulse synchronized with the frenetic energy of the crowd. Time melted away, the burning office tugging at the threads of their fates. In that moment, a startling realization crystallized. If ELON wasn't just disappearing, but orchestrating this chaos, then what lay beneath? What truths could reshape their lives? Who truly controlled the strings in this dark play? They were bound by the fire, the countdown continuing, every tick echoing in their bones, binding them tighter in destiny's web. And somewhere in that flame's glow, secrets waited to explode. The crowd was reeling, confusion hanging thick in the air. Jamal could still see the flames licking the sky, the rising smoke swirling like dark specters. But now, his heart raced for another reason. The masked figure with the device was gone, and the fire felt like a... He shouted over the growing din. We need to know what happens next. We can't let them win. Marcus's eyes flashed with urgency, but not just fear now. There was something else there. Something deeper. What if we can't handle what's coming? He stepped closer, breath shallow. Just then, a crack of thunder rolled overhead, and the ground shook more violently. Jamal stumbled, tightening his grip on the lamppost. The rumble grew louder. A menacing vibration that resonated in his bones. Then, without warning, a shadow broke through the smoke. A second figure appeared, eerily familiar, yet obscured by the chaos. It moved swiftly, darting toward them with unrelenting determination. "Get back!" Marcus shouted, positioning himself protectively in front of Jamal. But where there should have been fear, Jamal felt an unsettling calm. He squinted, trying to see through the haze. The figure stepped into the flickering light, and time slowed. It was Natalia, the woman who had defied the chaos, demanding answers before. Her eyes blazed with something fierce, but there was a chilling intensity to her gaze, as if she held the weight of the world within her. "Both of you!" she yelled, voice strong and unyielding. "You need to understand, I know who you are." A wave of disbelief washed over Jamal. "What do you mean, who we are?" He felt the shock gripping him, tying knots in his stomach. "It's not just who you are, it's who you were." Her words struck like lightning. "You're not just caught in this mess, you're at its center." Before they could respond, the ground quaked again, and flames burst from the office building with a ferocity that nearly knocked them off their feet. Marcus stumbled, but steadied himself. "What do you know?" he shouted, desperation creeping into its tone. Then it happened. There was another explosion, a surge that knocked everyone off balance. Jamal fell hard, the world spinning. In that brief chaos, beneath the growl of blasts and whirling smoke, the figure at the center of the explosion flickered and then vanished into thin air. Then silence. For a moment, everything froze. The flames hissed, smoke curling in slow motion. Heavy breaths filled the void, and then the panic surged anew. Jamal struggled to his feet, mind racing. Where'd she go? Was this another trick? Where had the truth disappeared? The ground underfoot trembled, a different kind of disturbance. The air was heavy, charged with tension. And then, as if the universe had conspired to reveal its deepest secrets, Natalia reappeared. This time, she held a small device, similar to a flash drive. "Before this goes further," she said, her voice sharper than before, "you need to see this." Her hands trembled slightly as she activated the device. Images flickered to life. "Wait," Marcus started, but it was too late. The screen showed a series of security footage clips. A table filled with files. MUSK talking animatedly with people Jamal recognized. Investors, politicians. But then something caught his eye. A quick cut to a younger version of himself, sitting across from MUSK. Eyes wide with hope and ambition. "I never wanted you to find out." A familiar voice echoed through the footage. It was Marcus's voice. "But the truth isn't what it seems. We built this together. You're part of something bigger." Jamal gasped, heart dropping. Behind him, Marcus Huentepal, color traspasado de su cabeza. The revelation hung in the air como el ácrido humo alrededor de ellos. "Marcus, ¿qué significa?" Jamal's voice trembled, realizing the ground shifted beneath him. I didn't think you'd find out. Not like this." The world spun, confusion crashing over Jamal like a tidal wave. Everything, the chase, the fear, the chaos. It felt like pieces of a puzzle he hadn't wanted to see. The flame that once burned bright flickered, leaving doubt in its wake. "So this was all a game to you?" But it wasn't just Marcus now. The truth loomed larger than either of them had anticipated. Before Jamal could process what came next, another explosion erupted close by, chaos reigniting around them. A new fear gripped him. Who was playing whom? And how far did this game go? Marcus's eyes darted desperately. "Listen, Jamal, I can explain. But first, we need to leave. Things are getting out of control." The flames roared back to life, embracing the night like a beast awakening from the dark. Shadows shifted all around them, and Jamal felt the urgency pressing in. But what Marcus had shared loomed larger. Truth twisted in tight knots, and the stakes just rose with every passing second. "What now?" he shouted. Marcus began, fear catching in his throat as the turbulence of chaos whipped all around them. An unexpected realization hit. Everything you thought you knew Natalia whispered, her gaze piercing through the flames. "It was never about MUSK. It's about you." And in the heart of that confusion, the clock ticked louder than ever, echoing the weight of unspoken secrets. The hunt wasn't over. It was just beginning. The air crackled with tension, thick and heavy. No one spoke. The truth hung in a fragile balance, flapping like wings caught in a storm. Jamal felt the weight of Natalia's words pressing down on him. Confusion swirling like smoke. Relationships were fraying, ties unraveling quickly, and the world outside continued to burn in chaos. Then, without warning, everything changed. The device in Natalia's hand buzzed violently, lights flickering erratically before exploding with blinding light. Jamal raised his arms to shield his eyes, feeling a surge of energy rush all around. He could hear the gasps, the panicked breaths of the crowd caught in the maelstrom. The brightness glowed intensely, leaving him momentarily blinded. Just when he thought it would consume them, it cut to darkness. A silence enveloped them, thick and suffocating. The glow was gone, replaced by a strange cold. And then a figure appeared, a hulking shape, towering, obscured by shadows. "Who's there?" Marcus shouted, stepping protectively in front of Jamal, his voice shaking. But it wasn't a stranger. As the figure stepped into the faint light, Jamal's breath caught in his throat. It was their old mentor, Victor, a man thought to be long buried beneath the weight of corporate greed and deceit. He had vanished years ago after a scandal rocked their world. The last time Jamal saw him, he was spiraling into the shadows, a ghost of ambition. "Victor!" Marcus whispered, disbelief clouding his eyes as the pieces fell in slow motion. The man stood with authority, eyes fierce and haunting, holding a device similar to what Natalia had used. Fear and hope twisted together in Jamal's chest like a noose. "You need to listen to me." Victor's voice cut through the silence, laced with urgency. "You've been pawns in a game far more twisted than you can imagine." "What do you mean?" Natalia shrieked, taking a step forward. "You were gone! We thought you were dead!" "Dead is what they wanted you to believe," he said, voice low and deliberate, urgency spilling into each word. "ELON's disappearance is just the surface. It's what's being hidden underneath that will ruin everything you thought you knew." Then he pressed a button on his device, and a series of images lit up the air, a shocking montage of faces, familiar yet distorted, their secrets exposed, the reality twisted like a knife. They all gasped, hearts pounding as a deeper betrayal illuminated before them. "Marcus? Jamal?" Victor's gaze locked onto them, piercing and damning. "You've been set up to take the fall. Everything you've worked for was built on lies. This conspiracy runs deeper than you know. You have to trust me." The weight of his words bore down. "Trust you?" Jamal's voice caught, raw and tremulous. "You left us! You abandoned us when everything fell apart!" "But I was protecting you," Victor shot back, anger boiling over. "I pulled strings to keep you out of this. Now it's too late. We have to move before they find us." The pieces began to snap into sharper focus. Jamal felt the hot sting of betrayal wrap around his heart, anger rising. Was he part of this twisted game all along? "Victor, had left them to flounder alone, and now he returned, demanding trust? As they battled with Victor's revelations, a distant rumble surged through the air again. Another explosion, louder this time, trembling through the ground beneath their feet. The lights flickered on the walls, a horrific strobe illuminating the expressions of shock and horror on the crowd's faces. With the chaos escalating, Victor turned sharply, motioning for them to follow, but Jamal felt rooted to the spot. "You don't get to just come back like this, not after everything." The tension snapped like a taut rope. Anger boiled over, and Jamal moved closer, fists clenched. "Who are you really? What else are you hiding?" Victor stepped forward, eyes wide, breaths heavy. The weight of secrets pressed against him, and for the first time, he hesitated. "My loyalty, it was never to them. It was always to you. But you have to listen." Then came the thunderous crash of another explosion, one that rocked every foundation. And out of the smoke, a figure emerged again, masked and intent. Time froze. "Jamal!" Marcus yelled, panic-stricken as the masked figure took aim. Jamal felt the blood drenado por su frente. Los estados se ponen tarde, y con ellos la cueva del engaño se empoderaba a llenarlos por bueno. Un juego, el poder del puntillo. Un terror invisible que cambiaría sus mundos. La verdad estaba a cambio de gente y así se invisibilizara. El ojo blanco entre el propio Marcos y Marcus. The deafening crack de una aguilla refleja en el caos. El tiempo se volvió lleno de un cometa desploma entre el huracán. Jamal se puso tímidamente, desplegándose hacia atrás. El exteme le equipara burra, borrado fue el juicio que Jamal quiso. Después se pitó tis para todos. También se pisa perdió, revelando una faz que envió Cosmo a Jamal. It was Ethan, the ghost of Marcus's past, the very man who had warned them. Blood pooled around him, staining the concrete as he gasped for breath. Jamal's heart raced, the terror of reality crashing down as everything shattered. Ethan's eyes met Marcus's, and in that fleeting moment, truths hung suspended in the air. "It's not over," Ethan croaked, his voice straining as he handed Marcus a small device, flickering faintly in the dim light. "Ethan, don't go!" Jamal shouted, but there was no stopping the life slipping from Ethan's grasp, the weight of secrets leaving the world behind. But the device, what could it reveal? Was this the key to everything? As Marcus held it, a chilling realization anchored itself in Jamal's gut. This wasn't just about the man standing before them. It was a moment that could change everything. Suddenly, Natalia's voice pierced through. "We have to go." She grabbed Jamal's arm, urgency radiating from her. "They'll come for us." Marcus hesitated, eyes locked on Ethan. "But what about him? We can't just leave him." "We can't help him now," Natalia said, fiercely, pulling Jamal away. "We need to figure this out before it's too late." Just then, the ground shook again, a warning shot across the city. The flames from the office building intensified, illuminating their faces in shades of orange and despair. "Move," Marcus yelled, and they rushed away from the scene, the fear palpable. Each step felt heavy, the weight of despair dragging them down. They slipped into a narrow alley, the sounds of chaos fading behind them, replaced by the pounding of their hearts. Jamal's mind raced as they caught their breath, assessing what had just happened. What did he mean? What's on that device? Marcus fumbled with the device, a spark of focus igniting in his eyes. It's a hard drive. He pressed a button, and images began flashing on a small screen as the device whirred to life. They saw files, encrypted messages, and video feeds. Elon Musk's secret meetings, plans in motion, names of people intertwined in a web of conspiracy. This was the truth Ethan tried to show us, Jamal breathed, realization dawning. No, Marcus whispered, eyes wide. It goes deeper than that. We're in the middle of a storm we didn't even know existed. He looked up, determination hardening his features. We can't back down now. But even as they stood united, uncertainty loomed. The world felt fragile, and the danger they had brushed against was still out there, racing toward them. As darkness enveloped the night, Jamal's pulse quickened. The hunt was far from over. The stakes were higher than either of them understood, threads of fate intertwining around their lives like nooses tightening slowly. We need to figure this out, together, Jamal urged, feeling a flicker of hope ignite amidst the chaos. But what would that truth reveal? And at what cost? Just then, a figure emerged from the shadows, but in the blink of an eye, they vanished, leaving behind uncertainty, echoing in the silence. Jamal turned to Marcus and Natalia, fear glimmering in his eyes. What now? They stood on the precipice of the unknown, every heartbeat sinking with the looming question. What secrets would they uncover next? And somewhere far away, the city continued to burn, holding its breath for the truth yet to be revealed. You can't miss what's coming next. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comment section with your reactions and theories about this shocking ending. Don't wait even a second longer to share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this ending. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.